Hello and welcome to Book Talks with Miss Thomas. I'm Miss Thomas and that's
Hello.
Truffles. I know it's been a hot minute since I've been on here, but I wanted to get on here and tell you about a really fantastic book, the best book I've read in a really long time, that I buddy read with Chrissie at Chrissie's Purple Library. This book was also recommended to us by Stacy at Wondering with Stacy. And that book is Firefly Diaries by C.C. Warrens. Now, C.C. Warrens is actually a married couple, so that's where I guess we get the C.C. Let's see, they're in Ohio, and well, I'm not sure where the C.C. comes from, but it's a couple, it's not an individual. And I got originally the Crossfire series because Stacy was talking about the original book, the first book in the Holly series, I guess, the Holly novel, book 2. But I think of them as the Crossfire series because there's Crisscross and then this one's Crossfire. And this is the character Holly. And I really, really enjoyed the first book in the series. And I immediately bought the second book as soon as I finished the first one. I mean, I immediately got on Amazon and ordered it. I knew I just had to know how the story continued because the book ends with like a cliffhanger. And I had told Stacy, thank you so much for recommending that book. I really enjoyed it. And she wrote back, well, another one I recommend is Firefly Diaries. So I did Firefly Diaries. Chrissie and I wanted to do a buddy read, and we were tossing around like, what kind of book would we read? And I said, well, Stacy recommended this one. Let's try it. So I knew nothing about it going into it, and I don't think Chrissie knew anything about it either. But it turned out to be such a really good book. Now, Chrissie does like a mood reading. It's like a read with me video where she's reading this book. If you want to see that, I'll link it in the description. But this book, Firefly Diaries, is the story of Noelle. And Noelle, she is not a house flipper. Hold on. Okay, well, I can't remember what Noelle did for a living. But something happened, something really tragic happened in her life that caused her to pick up and leave and want to start over. And so her parents would buy houses and renovate them and sell them when she was growing up. And she thought maybe she would do that. And she saw this house here and fell in love with it. And it's a really run down house. I mean, it was a beautiful house once upon a time. And so she wants to restore it. She wants to bring it back to its original glory. I don't know if she intends to live there or if she wants to flip it, but she buys this house. And it's in this creepy kind of community where people aren't quite right. There's just something unwelcoming about where she has moved into this house, which seems to be in the middle of nowhere. There's a few things nearby, like a diner, there's police, but nothing like right there within arm's reach. And so as soon as she gets to this house, she's greeted by this guy who walks around with his shotgun, and he's just very threatening and unwelcoming. And so that's the first thing. She's like, wow, that's creepy. And then she starts getting she gets a weird note on her windshield that says, you're not alone in that house. And I think she got was it phone calls, I think? But it's just very creepy. And she gets the sense that people are coming into the house when she's not there. And she starts to notice things missing in her house. And she's just a little freaked out, but she's determined to make it in this house and, start over her life. Oh, I remember she was a novelist. That's what it was. She was somebody who wrote true crime novels. So she's in this house and she comes across this diary while she's outside in the yard. And it's a little girl's diary, hence the title, Firefly Diaries. And she gets really enmeshed in this little girl's story, and her mother calls her Firefly. It's a nickname. And so Noelle is reading this diary, and she's really starting to feel convinced that there's something really important about this girl Firefly. Is she missing? Has she passed on? Has she moved? Noelle just feels this conviction that she's got to find Firefly. And I think maybe, I don't know what C.C. Warrens intended when they wrote the book, but I like to think that's like a conviction from the Holy Spirit. So Noelle is going around asking, do you know who has this diary, who wrote this diary? And she's concerned for this person, Firefly. She really wants to track down Firefly. Meanwhile, there is a girl who is missing. She's a college student, and her car is found near Noelle's new house, and she's disappeared. And so the police officer is looking for, I have to, as Chrissie said about the police officer, a man! I can't do it like Chrissie, but there's this man, and he's this police officer, and he's investigating the car that was found. He doesn't know if the girl who drove the car is missing, or if she took off, or what's the story with this girl's car. But her car has appeared near Noelle's house. So we start to think maybe the two are connected. If nothing else, Noelle makes a connection with the police officer, the man. And so that was really cool to watch. And I thought, is this going to turn into a romance? Because I'm not really much of a romance reader. And Chrissie had said when we were discussing it as, book buddies, Chrissie had said, is there anything triggering in this? This is looking like it's going to get disturbing. And I have to tell you, there are a couple of things in here, some subject matter that's disturbing or evil. There's definitely evil in the book, but it's very well done. The author doesn't glorify it or depict it overly, but there are some triggering subjects in here. So I don't want to give anything away because that would be giving away too much about the book. But the author does not. It's a Christian book, and the authors, there's two of them, they do not in any way glorify evil or even depict it in real graphic terms, but it's there. You get the sense that it's there. And simply the fact that it's a mystery should let you know that there might be some things going on in here. There's some creepy things too happening in the book. There's this possibility, is the book haunted? And then at the beginning of each chapter, I thought these were bats. I don't know, maybe they're birds. But if I hadn't read C.C. Warren's before, I might have DNF'd it because I thought, are we going to get into this supernatural realm? I'm not really into that. That's not the case. Everything is in here makes sense. It all comes together in the end. So I know that's kind of a ramble. I don't want to give anything away about the book. I do want to tell you though. So Noelle is, she's sort of running away from her problems. She picks up and moves to this new house, and she's had some real tragedies in her past. You find out that she's left behind some pretty painful memories. And there's this one passage where she's reading Firefly's diary, and Firefly is describing her pain and how her mother is really sad, and Firefly's sad because her mom's sad. She's trying to comfort her mom, and her mom just doesn't accept the comfort. And there's a passage in here where Noelle is reading that, and she thinks, is that what I'm doing to God? And she starts to really talk to God in this book, and her relationship with God starts to unfold in such a beautiful way. You start to really see that she felt abandoned by God. She felt angry with God. And then she realized it was the other way around. She was angry with God. And so she abandoned him. And so she recognizes that. And there's even a passage in this book where she literally cries out to him. She's actually yelling at him, "Where were you?" And then she realizes that, he was right there. And she feels this, sorrow for her hostility toward God and repents of that. And there was so much in here that was so beautiful. There was a spiritual thing. There was a smidge of romance. There was rich character development. And I especially want to applaud C.C. Warren's for tackling some pretty difficult subject matter very gracefully. So I highly recommend this book. I give it 6 out of 5 stars.